right, guys, if you're watching and you're interested in the Santa Barbara real estate, we got Avi Becker, one of my boys that I met at Tom Ferry, top agent at Berkshire Hathaway. He's going to give us honestly, just like a market update on what's going on there. I know that a lot of my clients are either looking at Santa Barbara as a potential second home spot or a potential retirement spot. So, there's a lot of correlation in between the LA market and the Santa Barbara market. I know the Santa Barbara market's been hot for a while. I love that place. It's gorgeous. So anyway, Avi, thanks for coming on, brother. I really appreciate it. So tell us what's going on in the Santa Barbara market.
Thanks so much for having me, Paul. You're the man, first of all. I appreciate you having me to chat with your audience. And yeah, let's talk Santa Barbara. So, Santa Barbara has always been a great place to come, hang out, live, enjoy. And in COVID, obviously, like a lot of other markets, we kind of had that same explosion where a lot of people, they wanted more space, they wanted more privacy, they wanted nice beaches and no traffic and clean air and access. So we definitely helped a lot of people move from, I'd say the top areas that I'm having people come in buying second houses or where they're moving from are LA, San Francisco, some other areas in California, and then other metropolitan areas like New York, areas in Colorado, where people want either warm weather, ocean views, just kind of a different change of pace. Sure. And also, obviously you got to have a solid price point to work with, because our average sales price and median both in Santa Barbara and Montecito, it's not cheap. It's cheaper than some areas in LA, and sometimes people come here and it looks like a little bit of a discount compared to what they're used to in Santa Monica or something like that. But looking at stats, average sales price for Q4 for Santa Barbara, single family house was 3.3. Median was 1,850. So obviously the average gets dragged up because there's big, 7, 8, $10 million houses, and the number of transactions is low. The number of sales in all of Q4 was 245 transactions, which is probably what LA does in, a week or so.
Wait, you had 245 transactions in Q4 in Santa Barbara. Is that the city, the county? Does that include Montecito?
That includes Montecito. It's South County, so it's not including like Lompoc, like the northern area. It's basically Goleta through like Carp.
Okay, got it. Okay,
so that's the area that I cover. I even do a little bit of Ventura here and there, but we have referral partners with people for like the northern counties, like Buellton and like the wine country areas.
That's actually a lot more than I expected, honestly. In a quarter, 245 transactions. Do you know what the sales volume was?
I don't have the volume right here. I just have the average. Oh wait, I do have the volume. Sorry. Yeah, for Q4, right under 700 million, 673. But in Q3, it was right under $1 billion. So we're 28% down in volume. And the sales amount in Q3 was 354. So it's 28% down from Q4 compared to Q3. And the total number of sales was down 31%, which is what we're seeing everywhere. Just we're in a declining sales, transactional market. Sure. But the median price went down 3%, but the average price went up 4% for single family houses. So it's like that's Q3 to Q4. So like we've seen, the market has decelerated in terms of the rapid appreciation we saw from the first 6 months of 2022, but prices are kind of just stabilizing. There's not like, I'm getting some clients' properties under list price. We're getting negotiations in our request for repairs. I'm starting to show some off markets that have been canceled and expired, and there's opportunity for buyers and my clients right now, but it's not like there's this huge for sale, discount off the top that people might have been hoping was coming.
I know, and I think that's the weird part about this market. I've been doing it for 16 years. So I started in 2006. So I was there during the Great Recession. And I mean, there was so much supply. It was crazy, but this market is completely different because it's kind of like a buyer market in some price points, in some sectors, like some areas. Like for instance, like yesterday, I was doing a market update in Beverly Hills, right? For ultra high-end properties over $20 million.
Yeah.
There are 16 properties over $20 million on the market in Beverly Hills proper, and only one under contract.
Wow.
So that's a huge buyer's market right now in that price point in Beverly Hills. But I just listed a house in Beverly Hills for $3 million in an area just south of Wilshire that is really hot, and there's nothing around there. So I'm the only house basically under $4 million in that area. So it's probably going to go pretty fast.
Yeah.
So it is a very strange market. And I think when we talk to buyers and buyers ask us, how the market is. They're obviously watching the national news, and
Totally.
the national news is saying, obviously doom and gloom. It's things are not selling. Sales are down by a lot, and yes, sales are down by a lot, but prices haven't dropped. Me and you were at the Tom Ferry event a couple weeks ago, and David Childress from Keeping Current Matters said that the LA market has gone down 6% in like 2 or 3 months. I think he said like July, August, October,
Yeah.
and then since then it's kind of leveled out.
Yep.
So I'm curious to find out, like what your projection or what your thoughts are on like where we're moving forward in Santa Barbara market.
For sure. And one thing that's so important to remember is, yeah, the national news, yeah, you can watch it and sometimes it can give you insight, but it's so important to know the hyper local news.
Mm-hmm.
And like, then you hear about all the talk about interest rates. Like, of course, interest rates are important. I work with a lot of clients that buy with a loan, but in Santa Barbara, South County, in Q3, 37% of buyers were cash, and in Q4, 40% were cash. So it's like for these, for basically 2/3, a little bit more than 2/3 of our marketplace, it doesn't really matter what interest rates are. They might refinance and
that's a good point, Avi, because we're seeing the same over here. Like the all cash buyers are like their mouths are watering, like they're ready to like pounce because they're not affected by the high interest rates.
For sure.
So for them, they're just like a lot of them are actually waiting, and I'm trying to have a conversation with them and letting them know, hey, I think now is a good time to pounce on a great property. I don't see, at least in LA, the prices going down, 15, 20%, like everybody's kind of saying out there, like the Great Recession, right? Because there's not a lot of inventory. Without a high supply, like prices are not going to come down that much. Obviously, some certain areas are different, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. And I think it's hard to project the future. Obviously, no one has a crystal ball. But here's what we do know. We know what's going on right now. And I bet your clients are experiencing this too, your cash buyers, even your loan buyers. A lot of my clients on the buy side are getting a little bit of wiggle room off the top, and then even more wiggle room off in the request for repairs.
Yes.
Now, I've had $10,000, $15,000 requests for repairs that a year ago, no shot are they getting.
You wouldn't even ask for it. You wouldn't even ask for it.
It would have been a waste of time. So our buyers are pretty stoked where, even if they are getting a loan, they're understanding their interest rate's higher than it would be a year ago. But man, to not have to compete against 10 offers and to actually get, a big credit when you find out the roof needs to be replaced or the sewer lateral is shot, my clients are really stoked. And a lot of people that are coming, from other markets, from LA, they've been following, the news, and they knew how hard it was last year. And now they're like, wait, we can write like at list price or even a little bit under and get a property accepted. It's kind of exciting. So, I work our business is pretty 50-50 with buyers and with sellers. We have, some great listings, but we love helping our buyers out for sure. And it's awesome to really get those people a nice chunk back, because for the last, basically all of 2022 and 21, you just basically were like, hey, here's everything wrong with the house. And if you don't want it, there's like 10 other people that are going to jump at the bit to get that house.
And it's just less stressful for the buyers right now, because it's like they're not competing with, 10 or 15 other offers. And like you said, there's some time to negotiate. You're not having to like submit an offer right away without seeing it. You have to be in town. And a lot of the buyers that you're working with, like you said, are coming from out of town. So in the hot market, they were probably putting on in offers without even seeing the property, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And what I work with a lot of time, my out-of-town buyers, I help them kind of set up a savvy strategy where sometimes they want to retire here long-term. Sometimes they just want to use it a bunch for their kids and their family. There are certain areas in Santa Barbara where you're allowed to do Airbnb in the coastal zone. And I help a handful of clients who've bought houses in that area manage their Airbnb. And, oftentimes it pays for all the expenses, all the taxes, pays their mortgage and then some. And then a lot of times my clients too, we have like luxury condos, and they use it for 6 months out of the year, and the other 6 months we rent it out. I have a client who bought a beautiful property in the funk zone of Santa Barbara, if you're familiar. That's right downtown. Luxury 2-bedroom, and we get $7,500 a month and have multiple applications every time he leaves town. And the rents only go up. So a lot of times my clients that are coming from out of town areas, from like areas of yours, we're helping them strategize to say, not only is this going to be a great tool for you to use for your family, for your friends, when you want to come up and escape the city, but we can also make it an income producing vehicle for you that's going to be a really good investment long term too.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because over here, as you probably know, the city of LA has locked down the Airbnb stuff, because it was really, it was affecting the buyers that that were primary residence buyers, right? Because now they're having to compete with more buyers that are looking to invest and do short-term rentals. Plus the neighborhoods, a lot of them didn't like it because now they're like dealing with like a hotel that kind of a hotel type of homes in their area with like a lot of people coming in and out. So what areas in Santa Barbara are allowing short-term rentals? Do you have to get a permit? What's that process look like?
For sure. It's in the coastal zone, which is basically ocean. If you're looking at the Mesa, other parts of Goleta or Carpinteria, I can even send a map to people that are interested, but it's a smaller segment pretty close to the coast. It's usually about a half mile or so, I would say. I'm trying to think about the exact distance. Like in the Mesa, there's Cliff Drive, which runs parallel to the ocean. It's everything ocean side of Cliff Drive in the Mesa. Okay. So you have to be in the right zone for it. If you are looking to have an Airbnb strategy, you definitely want to understand all the precursors and the potentials. Sure. The city banned them and then they were sued and it got overturned and now they're allowed in the Airbnb zone. But you always want to have a fallback plan where, the Airbnbs, we don't know for sure that they could be allowed forever. Other areas are cracking down, areas like in Hawaii. So it's always good to have a game plan, where it's like, okay, well, if we can't Airbnb it, what's the estimated rent we can get if it's a 30-day minimum? Because that's allowed everywhere. You can rent out as a 30. I don't know if that's how it is in LA, but.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can get a permit for under 30 days, but I don't know what that process looks like. I'm not sure how long it takes and if you can even get it, But I think that's a good point because if you don't have a plan B, if rules change, then you're with an asset that you're not using, you can't rent, and now you're probably having to come out of pocket a couple of grand to just have it there. Now they're gonna have to sell it. So I think it's a great strategy to have that plan B and understand. If the rules change, you can do long-term rentals. And what's that market look like if they're looking for 30-day plus? Is that still pretty easy?
Yeah, it is. Honestly, we have so many people that come. We have a really diverse group of tourists that second home or transient people that come here. What's cool, obviously in Santa Barbara, just like LA, we have really consistent good weather. So in the wintertime, we get the snowbirds, the people that are from Colorado, from cold weather markets, and a lot of Minnesota actually. People that want to get out of the snow and have some weather, they come in the wintertime. And in the summertime, we get a huge migration from the super hot areas like Texas, Arizona, Nevada, the people that want to get out of the heat. So we have consistent, the slowest month definitely is in January. I own an Airbnb as well. My January was pretty slow, but my February, March, April is booked like crazy. January, I feel like everyone kind of resets after the holidays. They've just done a lot of traveling.
Sure.
But we have a really consistent flow of different types of tourists and different types. Even nowadays too, we get the cruise ships are back, which were stopped from COVID, and we have even a big international pool of tourism from Asia. So, we have a very diverse and fun group of people that love to come and visit Santa Barbara. And the great thing about it, what I've noticed with my Airbnb especially, is people come back consistently. Sometimes it's like a once a year thing or a buy. They have spend their anniversary here. It's people come back a lot because it's such a great place to hang out.
I mean, I've been going there since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Going on State Street, and we would always do like a day trip. And then I had a couple of girlfriends that went to UCSB, like I told you. Yeah. So I mean, I've been going there for forever, man. And I when I get there, it's like when I go to Maui, and I go to Maui a lot.
Yeah.
You arrive and there's this relaxation feel of it, And Santa Barbara has that because there's first of all, the architecture is all kind of similar, the beautiful Spanish style houses and buildings on State Street, but then all the mature trees, you got the views, you got the Riviera overlooking the Channel Islands. So there's like so much to do there. And now the wine country there is just like booming, right? I mean, I just listed a house in Toluca Lake for $2 million, and she has a house in San Ynez. And she's like, I don't spend enough time here, Paul. I want to sell this house. I'll get a small condo because I work in LA. But 5 days out of the week, I'm in San Ynez, right? So do you know what the market's like over there?
For sure. Me and my team are pretty Goleta, Santa Barbara, Montecito specific, but we have great referral partners in Santa Ynez, and Santa Ynez is blown up for sure. Wow. It's kind of a couple different buyer types that go out there. People that want space, that want to get out of the city, that want to, you can get a nice property with like 10 plus acres, for $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million, depending on how nice you want the finishes to be. And there's a lot of people that are kind of, the agriculture and the wine scene in Los Olivos, so much fun. There's like great wine tasting, very romantic, good restaurants and date night spots. And there's also people that are buying a property to kind of become their own little mini winemakers who have like, you know, a couple of vineyards and a couple of vine, and they just love wine and they want to grow their own grapes and kind of get into that world.
That's
and,
awesome.
You know, it's fun because like the 154 actually is closed right now because of all the rains, but so now it takes like an hour to get there because you have to go up the 101. But normally
it's all the way around.
Yeah.
Oh,
when that reopens, it's basically 45-minute strike from Santa Barbara. And me and my friends will do that all the time, you know, on weekends. Like, hey, let's go wine tasting. Let's go. You know, there's some wineries that have like petting zoos. You can like feed like the horses and the little cows and stuff. And it's like a little taste of the farm, you know, urban life or suburban lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you're still really close to like a functioning, like bigger town like Santa Barbara.
And I think that like having that next to it and that drive is also just like gorgeous. Like
no traffic.
Up the mountains, coming back to with the views, and like the whole terrain just changes to like rolling hills, golden hills. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I mean, there's a lot. Santa Barbara has a lot to offer because you have a great food scene there. I mean, there's a lot of great food. You have what's it called? Funk Zone? Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Funk Zone is awesome. A lot of cool little wine shops there too, right? You have the beach, which is awesome. You can. The only thing about Santa Barbara, I tell you, is that they need a bigger marina, bro.
Yeah.
Their marina is so small.
Yeah.
I heard it's so expensive to get a slip there in Santa Barbara.
Yeah. It's an exclusive. Everything here is just because we have the beach on one side, the mountains on the other side. There's height restrictions, so there's no luxury condos like in LA that are 80 stories. Yeah. So everything's just, it's kind of just prime where it's hard to get in, but once you're in, you're kind of in, you get to love and live the life where it's like a lot of people here, we're really stoked to have people come and move from LA, but it's just a different experience than LA. Sure. It's like, there's just no traffic. There's just a little bit more of a slower pace. And I still love to go and visit LA, and there's obviously more to do in LA, but like, here's just a different vibe. And we're very we're proud, and we're really happy to kind of live this a little bit more slowed down like lifestyle where there's still a lot of really successful, hardworking people, but it's a little bit of a different vibe. And you said it, like kind of when you get here, it's kind of just like you get to like relax a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And did COVID and the remote working kind of situation help Santa Barbara's market?
Yeah, I mean, it's twofold, right? Where a lot of people that have lived here for a lot of years and are locals and are ready to buy their first house, they're seeing all these people come in from San Francisco, from LA, from areas, taking their big, their tech jobs or their remote jobs and paying, way more than they were used to for these houses. And also same thing kind of goes with the Airbnb, these communities that, a couple of years ago were $1 million. Now 3-4 years later, they're $2 million for the average sale price because there's a lot of Airbnb buyers. Yeah. But it helped a lot of people come and move here who normally would not have as much of a big of a job market. And I think the rapid migration that we saw is kind of settled, and it's kind of people are moving at a more steady standard rate, and it obviously drove up our prices. But for the people that are willing to kind of sacrifice, either have a little bit of a smaller house or spend a little bit more, it's so worth it for the people that decide to stay here, like myself included.
Yeah. So because here in LA and all of California and all of the United States, there's a housing shortage, obviously, right? There's a big housing shortage. So over here, they've changed zoning laws in LA. And so you're starting to see like these small parcels become massive apartments, and they'll dig massive, subterranean garages. Yeah. And now like a small area that may have a fourplex, now you have 50 units in there, and now it's like more and more congestion. Yeah. Santa Barbara, like, are they allowing people to build more? Like, are you seeing like a bigger apartment complexes? Are they allowing, people to build multiple units on land, or are they just, or kind of what you see is what you get, and there's not more inventory going to be built?
Yeah. The truth of the answer is not much more inventory is going to be built. We're seeing ADUs, obviously all across California, have become cheaper in terms of permitting and more accessible. And I have a handful of clients that have done really nice ADUs. And that's kind of like an idea that will help with potential housing shortage, where you can get, a young professional or someone in school or something like that who can, you turn your garage into a nice little studio that gets $2,500 a month. And we've seen actually a lot of building out by UCSB, because UCSB has a major housing shortage as well. So there's a whole new big complex that went up right in Goleta, but all those units are for rent, and they're nice complex, nice unit. But in terms of new construction right now, besides like one-off like renovations and flips, in terms of new home construction, there's nothing in Santa Barbara. The last one, the Winslow complex, sold out in 2021 or so, or 2020. So yeah, the truth is no one here is going to allow that type of LA development where you take a fourplex and you turn it into a massive 40 uniter. That's just not going to work in how our permitting and how our system and runs. So it's twofold. It's good where I still don't, the traffic has gotten worse since I've moved here, and when I moved here in 2014. But instead of being able to take 10 minutes from Goleta to Santa Barbara, it's now 15 minutes. So it's like, it's not what you guys are used to, for sure. Yeah. So I think it's going to stay relatively still, a little more spacious than other areas that are developing rapidly.
Gotcha. And then how about like over here, there's a lot of demand for what we call tear down development opportunities. So a small house or a house that just needs a lot of work, where a developer is going to pay more than the end user because the land is worth more, and then they'll tear it down and they'll build a brand new luxury house.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that over there in Santa Barbara?
Yeah, I have a good friend who does beautiful renovation developments, and there are a handful. It's a small pocket though. I know in LA it's like a huge group of, there's like foreign investors, there's all these builders from other areas. Yeah. Here it's more like like right now, if I was to look at the market, what's currently available for sale, there's like 3 or 4 homes that have been renovated that were purposely bought by renovator or builder developers. So we see it here and there, but it's not quite like your area where it's like a whole pocket, a whole group of this, like, of the market.
Everybody, like anybody who's got cash, dude, like they want to get into that development game,
Totally.
And there's development all over LA. I mean, Hollywood Hills, Beverly Hills, Hollywood Hills, Beverly Hills, Bel Air, and Beverly Hills Post Office, Brentwood, Palisades, anywhere in the hills, anything with a big lot. I mean, you're seeing these new developments are going for 8, 9, 10, and then 100 and 150 million dollars. I mean, they're just massive properties, crazy. Yeah.
Insane. Yeah. We're just different is the truth. We don't have very many. I don't know if we've ever had besides maybe like this one parcel that sold for like $100 million that UCSB like bought or something. We don't have very many, what is that? $100 million plus sales. We have, but for us, it's big when there's like a $20 or $30 million estate in Montecito that goes up for sale.
Got it. So where are the high end buyers looking at? Like I would say, 10 million plus. Are they Montecito? Are they looking on the ocean in Santa Barbara, Hope Ranch? Like what's the areas that they're looking at?
When you're north of 10 million, you're most likely going to be in Montecito, 93108. The vast majority of the listings in that price point are going to be in that tight zip code. Also, Hope Ranch will have a couple, but the average sale price in Hope Ranch is more like 5 or 6. Hope Ranch is, for those of you guys who don't know, it's a little bit north of Santa Barbara downtown, and it's this beautiful pocket that runs all the way along to the beach. They have a private beach. It has a beautiful golf course and country club. It's a really nice community for sure. And then Montecito is just, since the Prince moved there and Ellen and a bunch of other big name people have moved there, a lot of people, they'll come to our area and they're like, we want to be in Montecito, 93108. That is where we want to be. It's, it's a really private, beautiful community. A lot of celebrities live there because they can get away and have a big gated property where the paparazzi is not following them around like they do in LA. And so they're great restaurants. The village down there is really nice, and it's kind of a slow down pace. And there's definitely a lot of people that come from LA that either want to retire in Montecito or want their second home there, so they can kind of have their own little beautiful sanctuary.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously we saw Rick Caruso build the Rosewood. Because he saw that there was a need for a really high-end, hotel.
For sure. That's a beautiful area. They just opened a new sushi restaurant, Alma, which is so fantastic. That was a really cool project that he had.
And he was smart because he has also like a Tesla supercharger there. So whenever I have to go, I always stop there and I always walk around the hotel.
Yeah. Such a cool hotel, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, dude, thanks for coming on. Why don't you give us like anything that you're seeing in the future? Like anything that you see that is coming up, anything that would be interesting for people to know?
For sure. Well, I think if you're coming from, Paul's neck of the woods from LA, if you want an opportunity, if you love to live and hang out in Santa Barbara and you spend a lot of time here already, looking at some type of creative move where instead of having to pay, $1,000 a night every time you come up to stay at the Rosewood for like their basic hotel package, to look at some type of creative option, like a luxury condo, an Airbnb opportunity where you get to come and use it a lot and also could make money off of it. And also seeing the appreciation we've had over the past 3 or 4 years, It's a really good, option. And I've really loved learning about the Airbnb game. First off, selling Airbnbs to some clients and now owning my own. It's been really fun to kind of see the cool benefits of that. And one thing that's great about the Airbnb as well, this doesn't apply so much for like, the 30-day rental, but like, let's say, if Paul wants to come up and hang out with me and my Airbnb's open, like he can come stay there. And now I have a place for my friends, my guests, my family, so they don't have to just crash on my house. They have a great place to stay. My cleaners can clean it up, but it's like the Airbnb is so diverse in the benefits, because you get cash flow, you get appreciation, you get friends and family, you get to use it if you need to. Other people are using it. It's a really interesting perspective, and I would encourage, if you're thinking about coming, when you want to spend a lot more time in Santa Barbara, reach out to me anytime. We can have that conversation of the different options that you have, so you don't have to spend $1,000 at the Rosewood for the basic room. I think their nice rooms by the beach are like $3,500 a night.
Damn. And do you know how many units they have there? Because there's like a restaurant there on top and one at the bottom, and then they have the units right on the side.
Those are like the luxury villas. Those ones are the ones like $3,500 a night, and then they have all the the basic rooms towards the back. I don't know how many rooms they have there. My guess would be like, what do you think? Like a couple hundred, 200?
I think so. Yeah, because like I've walked the grounds, and it's pretty big.
Yeah, most of the rooms, they have a lot of villas that are like kind of separate, like no walls attached rooms. So they have a good amount of acreage.
So how do they reach you? Like, what's the cell phone, text, email, Instagram?
Hit me up anytime. We could link my number in the description of this video, and also my socials. I'm active on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the socials. And then obviously you can literally call or text me anytime. My number will be down there. So yeah.
Awesome. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. Hit the subscribe link. Avi, thanks for coming out, bro. I really appreciate it. I'm bummed you can't come sailing next week, but all good. I'll see you in 2 weeks in Vegas.
Yes, sir.
For the Tom Ferry thing. Are you going to Rob's thing?
I'm gonna get there Thursday morning, so I won't get there for Rob's thing.
Oh, bummer. Okay.
We gotta link up.
Smart. You're gonna probably be fresh. We'll probably be a little
bit fresh. Exactly.
All right, bro. Thank you.
You're the man, Paul. Thanks so much for having me, brother.
All right. See you, buddy.